All right, guys, welcome back to episode 2 of the Gus and Dave Sports Podcast. I'm Dave, that's Gus, and today we're just going to talk about the NFC, AFC Championship games. We're going to jump into some NBA, talk about the coaching carousel, touch a little bit on the Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks. We have a new segment for you guys that we're going to talk about at the end of the podcast, and then also our good do, bad do of the week. So without further ado, thank you back for watching again, and let's get into it.
So after this weekend, we saw the AFC Championship and NFC Championship games take place on Sunday. We saw the Broncos take on the Patriots in Denver. We'll get to that game in a second, but let's talk about the better game first. Let's start off on a good note. Seattle Seahawks took on the Los Angeles Rams in Seattle for the NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl. And that was a great game. I know we talked about it last week that we kind of wanted to see a similar game to the Thursday Night Football game that happened a few weeks before, and it wasn't as good. It didn't get down to the wire like that game did to a two point conversion, which was that was a crazy game, but still, nonetheless, very good game for our NFC Championship game. The final score of the game was 31-27. Seattle Seahawks did end up winning. Some controversial calls at the end of this game by coaching staff, and I don't want to blame the refs because Sean McVay did have the option to challenge a spot on the field where Cooper Kupp caught the ball over the middle of the field on I want to believe, 3rd and 9, and he stretched out the defender tackled him from behind, and he reached out for the first down marker, and he got it apparently. And instead of challenging the call, Sean McVay ended up using his timeout, which then led to the Rams getting a first down and ultimately winning the game. And so, Dave, what did you think about that game? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I was able to tune in, watch most of it, and just hats off to Sam Darnold, man.
Oh yeah,
He, I mean, for his entire career,
congratulations.
he was a not even a system quarterback. He was, no one looked at him. He
No,
is Sam Darnold. Why are we paying attention to this guy? And now he's taking the Seahawks to the Super Bowl, and hats off to that guy. I mean, 346 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 25 for 36 passing. I mean, he did it all. No turnovers. So I think he played a great game. Matthew Stafford played a great game too, but I mean, it came down to Sam Darnold was out there slinging that ball, slinging the rock, putting his
definitely,
team back.
definitely. And I mean, I don't think that the MVP is based off of playoff performance. I could be very wrong in that regard, but if it was, and I believe the two finalists or the two favorites to win MVP are Matt Stafford and Drake May. And in my opinion, I truly believe that this game really proved that Matt Stafford is the MVP for this season. I mean, he went out and played his heart out like he always has his entire career. He's just a tough guy. He'll lay it out there on the field for you and your whole team. Like you said, he threw for over 300 yards. I believe he had 2 or 3 passing touchdowns as well. They put up a great fight. Like I said, late in the game, there was a fourth down call, which I think was like 3 minutes left to go in the game. They didn't convert, but he still played a hell of a game, and I truly believe that he definitely deserves the MVP over Drake May after that performance, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They say these awards are not based off playoff performances, but
Okay.
you have to think that they play a factor because if they didn't play a factor, why do we not announce the awards 2 days after Week 18? Why did they not?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
I think this definitely secures the MVP for Matt Stafford. Definitely over Drake May. That's my favorite to pick for. But dude, yeah, he deserves it. He's the
Yeah.
better quarterback.
Definitely. And I know I mentioned last week after we were talking about the 49ers Seahawks game that if the Seahawks can, create as much pressure on Matt Stafford, then they would, ultimately win this game, which, they didn't really do at first. But I feel like in the second half, they definitely started to put more pressure on Matt Stafford. They obviously did not suffocate him as much as they suffocated Brock Purdy in that 49er offense because they only put up 6 points, and Matt Stafford went out and put up 27 against probably the best defense in the league, other than the Broncos, which we'll talk about in a little while. But I mean, it was a great game, both sides of the ball. You really can't ask for a better, NFC championship than that. And it's going to be exciting to see the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I think overall they are a very complete team. It's not like the Rams weren't. It's just, a matter of time. They played their A game, and so did Seattle, but they just got the best of them. I think being at home was a pretty big advantage. You could just tell that Matt Stafford had a tough time communicating, in the huddle and trying to get the plays off. And if he even were to maybe audible in the backfield, I don't know if, players can hear that well because it seemed very loud in that stadium. And I know that a bunch of NFL analysis, like ex-players, have said that Seattle is like one of the hardest, stadiums to play in this league. But hats off to Matt Stafford and the Rams. They had a hell of a season, and now we get to see the Seattle Seahawks play the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl in about 2 weeks. So let's rotate to that game, the
Yeah.
Broncos Patriots game. I mean, that was in my humble opinion, that was a very brutal game to watch through and through.
You didn't
The
miss
final
much if you
score,
didn't watch this game.
no, no, did not miss much. In the first half, it was, semi-competitive. I believe going into halftime, it was either 7-7 or, I think it maybe was 10-7 going into half, and that ended up being the final score, 10-7 New England. And yeah, I mean, you could just tell throughout the game that the weather was starting to get worse and worse. Like in the first quarter, it seemed like there was no problems, green grass. It looked like it wasn't very, cloudy outside in Denver. It just seemed a little bit more cold, obviously, it being in Colorado. But throughout the game, I mean, it just the weather played a huge factor, especially in the second half when it turned to, rain and then snow, and both teams just could not move the ball whatsoever. And special teams, I know late in the game, New England had a very bad punt that set the Broncos up very well, in New England territory. I think they were on the 34-yard line, and Will Lutz missed another field goal to tie the game, which, you can't really blame him.
Those
It
conditions
was
are terrible.
brutal weather conditions, brutal. And so, yeah, the final score ended up being 10-7. And like Dave said before, if you didn't watch this game, you really didn't miss much because, yeah, it was a brutal watch. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I put some notes down. I just think we're in such a weird phase of the league where fourth and short, fourth and three, fourth and four, coaches are automatically like, oh, we got to go for it. We got
Yeah,
much bigger advantage to get your first down, maybe get a touchdown, than to take your 3 points. But I think this game is a prime example. Take your points. Broncos could have attempted a 31-yard field goal in the second quarter to go up 10-0 in that in the first half, which eventually would have. I mean, we looked at it; it would have tied the game right there.
yeah,
At the end of the
definitely.
day, they decided not to go for it on the fourth and one, and they botched play, loss of downs, whatever. Special teams that day went 1 for 5, so kickers are missing left and right because of the
Yeah,
conditions, definitely. But I mean, that's just you want a kicker that's going to make it in any condition. I know that's tough, but once again, you need to make your field goals. And then one of the big notes I've circled down right here is that I want you to guess how many total yards do you think the Broncos had in the second half?
total yards in the
Total
second
yards.
half. I know Jared Stidham had just over, I want to say, 100 passing yards on the day. And the running game really wasn't doing much. I want to say maybe 150 total yards. Or no, you said for the second half, just in
Second
general,
half.
correct?
Yeah,
With those weather conditions, I wouldn't be surprised if they just sneaked over 50 total yards on offense.
they had 32 total yards of offense in
Wow.
the second half.
Wow. That
They had
is that is absurd. One
one
first down.
first down, and 32 total yards in the entire second half.
Wow.
And they lost 10-7. Where if they kicked the field goal in the late second quarter, could have tied the game. You never know what happens.
Yeah. Wow. That is yeah, it was a brutal game. Brutal
Yeah.
game to watch. Wish we could wish we could have had some of those Patriot Bronco games that we watched growing up.
Mhm.
2013, 2014, 2015 with Tom Brady against Peyton Manning and those defenses, but we did not get that. We got the polar opposite
Yeah.
of those games. And it is what it is at the end of the day. The Patriots going to go on and play the Seattle Seahawks in about a week and a half from now. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I know that Patriot defense has looked better and better each week in the playoffs. And I know a lot of people have come out and said that the Patriots have had, a cupcake schedule and all this kind of stuff, but I guess we'll see it in the Super Bowl because Seattle has been battle tested all year, playing the 49ers twice a year, playing the Rams for the third time on Sunday. They just play in a very competitive division other than the Cardinals, but they have been battle tested all year long. So we'll see what happens eventually in the Super Bowl in about a week and a half.
Definitely looking forward to that.
Definitely, definitely. So now let's jump into the some of the coaching carousel that's been going on in the league ever since the last time we spoke. So Todd Monken to the Browns, the offensive coordinator from the Ravens, is now going to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. What else do we have? Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator that followed Jim Harbaugh from Michigan to the Chargers, is now going to be the Ravens head coach. Mike McCarthy goes from retirement to the Steelers head coaching spot, which is a very interesting spot to land because of his, reunited with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And we also have Joe Brady being upgraded from the offensive coordinator position to the head coaching spot. So, a lot has been moving around in the NFL coaching wise recently. I know we still have the Raiders head coaching spot available and also the Arizona Cardinals coaching spot still available. So we'll wait to see in the upcoming weeks. I know Sean McDermott is still out there and he doesn't have a job at the moment. Mike Tomlin could also be an option if he wants to step up and take one of these jobs. But who do you think? Do you have anybody in mind for these other positions that are open?
I mean, like you just said, I think Sean McDermott and Mike Tomlin are going to be the two big names that the Raiders and Cardinals should definitely be going after.
Definitely.
But I mean, it's kind of like this coaching carousel is like a world where you don't know unless you're in the situation. I think that these two teams are interviewing candidates that you and I don't know, that these bigger podcasters, these bigger reporters, they don't even know. For example, the Commanders just signed Devontae Jones for their defensive coordinator position. I
Yeah.
never heard of the guy. I'll be honest. I'm
Yeah.
a Commanders fan my whole life. I've never heard of this guy. I saw some of the names they're interviewing, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, the name rings a bell. This guy was a defensive passing game coordinator for the Vikings, and I mean it just goes to show that these teams are interviewing people that you don't know. So
Yeah.
don't be surprised if you see the Cardinals and the Raiders hire somebody that is not Mike Tomlin, not Sean McDermott, that they're going to hire a coordinator or passing game coordinator. Like these assistant coaches are not popular to the public eye.
Definitely, definitely. And the same thing with the my team, the Miami Dolphins, hiring the Packers defensive coordinator, which was kind of, you know, I didn't expect that, as a Dolphins fan. I honestly didn't even know we interviewed the guy, but it does make sense now because we did bring the president of operations from the Packers to be our GM. So him bringing the Packers defensive coordinator along, obviously after, knowing that and learning that, uh, it doesn't really surprise me at that point. But yeah, you make a great point. They're probably interviewing, guys that we've never heard of for this head coaching job, and you know, they might just, surprise everybody in their decisions. So that's going to be very exciting to look forward to. I don't believe any other moves were made head coaching wise. I believe we covered all of them, but a lot of defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators could be moved from the Seattle Seahawks, from the New England Patriots after the Super Bowl occurs. And I know that a few of the head or the assistant coaches on the Rams and the Broncos could also be moving. Chris Shula, I know the Dolphins interviewed him. He is a big head coaching candidate at the moment as well. And Vince Joseph, the defensive coordinator for the Broncos, he could also be a big head coaching spot as well. But yeah, I believe that's about it for our coaching carousel. Let's hop right into the NBA and the trade deadline.
All right.
So let's hop right into this NBA segment of our show with starting off with some breaking news that we had today from Shams, NBA insider. He just announced today that teams are shopping for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is, a top five player in the league. So this is pretty big news. And after last year, after we saw what Luka Doncic, anybody could be dealt at any time. So this is pretty big news coming out of the NBA. I know that some teams would probably give up a lot more than you'd expect for a talent like Giannis. I've seen recently also that teams have some concerns about his injury report. Over over the weekend, he did strain his calf and will be out for about a week or so. And believe that this is his third or fourth calf strain in his career. So that could be something to watch out for. But again, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a two-time
Yeah.
MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, obviously has a championship. He is a premier player in this league. So definitely keep an eye on him. I believe that, honestly, I do not believe that he will be dealt before the deadline because the Milwaukee Bucks are probably their asking price is probably through the roof currently, especially if they want to make a push towards the playoffs. A guy like Giannis obviously is worth so much value right now, and but a lot of teams, on the other hand, would probably give up a lot for him as well. I just cannot see it happening before the trade deadline, but I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. I know there's a few other names out there that could be involved in trades, this upcoming week or so. Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies just got put on a 2-week injury reserve kind of thing, and that actually lines up with the date of the trade deadline. So I'm not too sure what's going on in Memphis right now, but a team that I would love to see Ja Morant go to is the Miami Heat. Him pairing up with, Andrew Wiggins, who still can put up, 15, 16 points a game. Bam Adebayo obviously being the star of that team
Yeah.
down low. And then if they can keep Tyler Hero and Norman Powell on the team, I believe that he can come in and make a difference. And he can, in that Heat culture, I feel like he could be a lot more contained. I know his off the court, decision making isn't the best, obviously. He's had some struggles in the past with that, but in Miami with Pat Riley owning the Heat, Pat Riley obviously probably knows everybody in Miami, and so if he does try to get away with something, Pat Riley's obviously going to know about it because of the motion that he has in Miami. But what do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I think that this Giannis one, this breaking news, it really caught me by surprise this morning when I saw it.
Definitely.
Just because of how big of a name. I feel like these days you don't see those big of a names, those star players automatically all of a sudden you wake up one day and now they're on the trade block. Like the
Yeah,
team's looking to shop for him, team's looking to
definitely.
get rid of him. But I do agree with you. I think that getting him out before the trade deadline is going to be tough just because
Yeah,
of how big of that asking price is. Um, but like you said, teams are willing to do it. I know the Pistons are very young. They have the draft picks on the capital to take on Giannis and ship some players out for it. So the Knicks were another option, but
definitely.
that's just like you said, getting rid of that and then that dealing with his injury history as well. It's just something that it's good. This is going to take multiple weeks to prepare. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Of course, we're going to wake up one day and see that he might be traded, but
Yeah,
it's going to be a
definitely.
week or two long process, or maybe something that happens in the off season.
Definitely.
Definitely. Then I saw some other names out there. I saw AD with the Mavs. They were
Oh
thinking about
yeah.
getting rid of him, but I mean, me personally, if I'm a team, I'm not taking AD anywhere. I think
No.
his injury history and then that salary is just too big. Um, he's like a French fry. I'm gonna say he can break in instantly, you know.
I hear
Um,
you. I hear you.
but yeah, so those were some names I saw, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got for them. NBA, really.
I feel like if a team were to kind of risk it, for AD and for that injury history, obviously, and for the salary, I feel like it definitely would be probably a team like the Golden State Warriors. They're an older team, obviously, with Stephen Curry being over the age of 35, Draymond being the same, and especially with this Jimmy Butler injury that just took place about a week or so ago. I could definitely see them maybe moving Kaminga, maybe a few other pieces and a few draft picks for Anthony Davis, but again, that's a very risky move. Obviously, going out and getting Jimmy Butler last year paid off for them, a little bit. I think they made the first round of the playoffs last year. I don't believe they made it out of the first round of the playoffs, but still, they got to the playoffs. They're not just wasting Steph Curry's career. But yeah, I can definitely see the Warriors making some kind of move like that. I've also heard that Kaminga and Steve Kerr, excuse me, don't really have the best relationship. I know Kaminga doesn't get, the playing time he obviously deserves. He's young, especially on an older team like that. You could definitely use some young, athletic forward like Kaminga. He just doesn't get the minutes he deserves on that team, which is kind of sad to see. So maybe seeing Kaminga in Dallas with Cooper Flag, with Kyrie when he gets back, a few of those other forwards that are pretty decent on the team, PJ Washington, Derek Lively. Those kind of guys, I feel like they could definitely make a push in the West for a playoff run if they do end up making this move because I honestly do believe that AD does need to switch up in scenery as well. Getting just thrown into this Dallas Mavericks team off the Luka Doncic trade, all the pressure was put on this guy to be the AD he was in 2017, 2018 on the Pelicans, or even the finals rush with LeBron on the Lakers in 2020. And that just hasn't panned out and it's not really his fault. It's just the pressure of trading Luka Doncic and generational talent
Yeah,
to just to come to the Mavericks is that's a lot of pressure on him for sure.
definitely.
But I also have seen that LaMelo Ball could be moved to the deadline. I know the Charlotte Hornets obviously have a bunch of young pieces on the team. Conkin Nipple has been a great rookie asset this year. They also have Brendan Miller and then obviously LaMelo Ball, who were all picked in the lottery within the past 5 or 6 years, which you'd expect. You see the Pistons, you see the Thunder. All these picks have kind of thrived and come up within the last few years and now they're the number one seeds in their conferences, and the Charlotte Hornets are still, bottom feeders of the East, which that's just not a sight you love to see. So moving on from Lamelo Ball could be a good option, especially if they get a good return on him. Golden State is another target for Lamelo. Putting him with Curry, maybe at the two guard, maybe putting Curry at the two guard, him at the one, putting a little bit less pressure on Curry for a ball handler. But again, putting him on that team, maybe trading Kuminga again and a few other pieces for LaMelo, maybe they could definitely make another playoff run. But definitely the Warriors are a team to keep an eye on for this deadline for sure.
All right.
So with the NBA, coming to the trade deadline and the All-Star break, we'll see what happens. We'll definitely keep you guys informed. But now we'd like to introduce you our newest segment of the podcast, Unsafe Takes.
Welcome to our new segment, Unsafe Takes. So basically what this is going to be is we're going to read takes from the internet, takes from you guys, and some of our takes that we come up with ourselves. I'm going to discuss them, Gus going to discuss them, and then it just goes from there. So the first take we saw is that the Dodgers are ruining baseball. And from an outsider point of view, I totally agree with this one. I think that having no salary cap in MLB, they're going to build the greatest team possible. They're going to win another. They're going to win the World Series this year. They're going to go back to back to back. They're probably going to win the one after that, another one after that. They're just building the greatest team ever, getting all these foreign players over the seas to come in, getting anybody they want in free agency, and building a God squad. No one's going to stop them. Yes, they're gonna lose some games here and there, but they have the best roster from top to bottom. They probably have one of the best farm systems. Gus, you might be able to go in depth on the farm system there.
Yeah.
But I don't see a world where they get stopped. They're gonna make this game completely irrelevant over these next few years. That's my take on this one. I definitely 100% agree with this. That the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Gus, what do you have to say about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the take. I agree that they're ruining the competitive nature that baseball has brought, over the past, 70 or 80 years, because we did see something like this in the I want to say 1920s, 1930s, where the New York Yankees kind of did the same thing. There's never been a salary cap in baseball. So the New York Yankees, like I said, did the same thing. They went out and obviously got Babe Ruth from my Boston Red Sox. They did it throughout the early 2000s as well. They went out and got Johnny Damon. They went out and got Jason Giambi. They went out and got Alex Rodriguez. So we have seen this before. And obviously the Yankees with 27 World Series rings, they have taken over, or they did take over the game of baseball for a long period of time. But the Dodgers are doing something very similar and probably something even more, more that's going to hurt the game in general. And like you said before, their farm system is, I want to say, a top five farm system in the MLB right now, which just adds on to it because not only are they going to win consistently now, but with a top five farm system with all these young guys coming up through their system, I can see them winning for the next, 7 to 10 years of just absolute dominance from the Dodgers. But this could also lead to a lockout season next year because
Okay.
teams are not going to want to play at this point. There are just teams that cannot compete with the amount of money that the Dodgers are bringing in. Say, I give an example about the Pirates. The Pirates have had one of the best farm systems, over the last 10 years. They've brought up Paul Skeens. They've brought up Garrett Cole. They've brought up a bunch of other players that eventually leave the Pirates because they just cannot afford to, or they just don't want to give out the money because some of the ownership does bring in the amount of money that the Dodgers do, but they just don't like to spend it on these players because it's not their number one like cause, right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the Dodgers are all in. Like you can't really blame them, honestly. I don't blame the Dodgers for wanting to spend all this money to provide to their fans championships upon championships, because other teams can do it if they so choose. They just believe that it's not worth the money. The ownership doesn't believe it's worth the money to do so because my Boston Red Sox, they're a top three net worth in all of baseball, and they've gone out and they have signed a few key players this offseason, but they could definitely keep up with the Dodgers, and so can the Yankees. And the Red Sox and the Yankees have kind of done the same amount in this free agency. But I mean, the Dodgers have just absolutely, they took the number one free agent this year, Kyle Tucker. They took the number one closing pitcher in Edwin Diaz, brought him on after winning the World Series last year. So I really can't imagine a season next year where the Dodgers aren't winning the World Series. But hey, the Blue Jays put up a great fight in Game 7, and they honestly should have won if they pitch. I mean, I say pitched correctly, but if they had closed out that ninth inning, they should have won the World Series. But I guess we shall see next year. That Dodgers lineup is absolutely ridiculous, and it's definitely one of the best lineups that I've seen in my lifetime for sure.
Definitely. The next unsafe take I found. Really, this is breaking news in the NFL world. People were discussing it. Bill Belichick, he's not a first ballot Hall of Fame coach.
Crazy,
He
crazy.
I was doing research. You got to get 40 out of the 50 votes, and he didn't get 40 out of 50 votes, which is absolutely insane to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's not a first ballot Hall of Fame coach. Who is? What
Yeah.
what, what coach is going to get that honor?
No
Just
idea.
to read up some of his accolades I have here. Most Super Bowl wins with 8. Most Super Bowl wins as a head coach with 6. Most Super Bowl wins as a general manager 6. Most Super Bowl appearances as a head coach 9. Most Super Bowl appearances 12. Most playoff wins as a head coach 31. 3-time AP NFL Coach of the Year. NFL 2000s All Decade Team. NFL 2010s All Decade Team. NFL 100th Anniversary All Time Team. What else do you want from him? I
You
mean,
can't get a better resume. You
I
really
don't know of
can't.
a better resume.
No.
Does this have to do with Deflategate? Does this have to do with some of the things, the shady things that he was doing as a head coach? But all the coaches do it. Every organization is doing something shady. They just
Yeah.
haven't been caught yet. Him not getting this first ballot Hall of Fame is the biggest snub, I think. And I've actually seen that he's taken it pretty well. He's still trying to honor the realm of the Hall of Fame. He's still trying to take pride in it, but I mean, you have to feel for him. This is the biggest snub I think of recent years of any player, any sport not getting a first ballot invitation to the Hall of Fame. Gus, what's your take on this one?
Definitely. I definitely agree with you. I know that Jimmy Johnson, a former NFL head coach of the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s, I believe he put out a tweet that said, all coaches have, tried to find a way to put their team in an advantage. Whether the kid, I mean, it doesn't matter whether it was, deflating footballs or trying to find out, the other team's plays or anything like that. And he came out and said that. And he obviously thinks it's a shame as well that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I mean, like you were saying before, his resume, it speaks for itself. It's absolutely ridiculous. The things he was able to do with those New England Patriot teams in 2014, 16, 18, they really didn't have like obviously had their superstars, but they made do with what they had. I mean, they made Julian Edelman, a 5'9", white guy. It, they made him a
Yeah,
Hall of Famer. And Danny Amendola, he's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but they still made him, very good, very good. And he made do with what he had. And 6 Super Bowl rings in 20 years is one of the most impressive things we will ever see in sports, especially in current day. I know that, like I said before, the Yankees won all those rings back in the 1920s and 30s, but there wasn't much competition then. And I mean, today in the Super Bowl era, winning 6 championships in 20 years is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I truly, I'm also shell shocked the way that he wasn't involved in the first ballot Hall of Fame. It's
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So that's, I feel like that was one of the breaking news that we saw. This kind of came in like last night and then early this morning.
Definitely.
But this unsafe take thing, I'm gonna let Gus. I'm gonna let you run away with this one. It's
Oh
got you
man.
written all over it. JT, Jason Tatum, is gonna ruin the Celtics' momentum when he returns. If he returns shortly, or just take it away. Let me hear it.
So there has been recent videos that have come out of Jason Tatum in our practice facility, obviously looking great injury wise. He tore his Achilles last May in Game 5 of the Eastern semifinals against the New York Knicks. And an Achilles injury usually takes about just under a year to fully recover. But that kind of information has come out. That's always been kind of known, and that it takes around a year for it to fully heal. But with technology these days and, the advancements we have in everything, he looks great already and he looks game ready. But for the take, it's so tough to say that, even though it was obviously with a different team. He's won a championship with Jalen Brown, with some of the pieces we still have on this team, and it's it's a shame that people think that an All NBA player, first team All NBA player, could come back to this team and ruin some of the chemistry. That kind of just blows my mind. But I can kind of see a world where people would think that because this Celtics core has played the last 40 something games with each other, and
Yeah.
they know that the play style hasn't changed. Coach Missoula has definitely probably switched up the play style after Jason Tatum got hurt over the offseason. So they definitely have some plays in mind where you don't have that set that your number one option, the superstar player you have on your team in those plays. But I honestly cannot see a world where he comes in and kills the chemistry, because all those guys that are on this team right now were on the NBA championship team and on the team last year where when he played with them. So I just cannot see a world where he comes back and ruins the chemistry. I think if he does come back, we have a very good chance of making a very deep push in the NBA playoffs, especially with the Knicks looking the way they do now. They're on a large skid, and I mean the Pistons are obviously at the top of the Eastern Conference currently, but they're a young team. They had some experience in the playoffs last year. I know they played the Knicks in the first round. I believe they took them to 6 or 7 games, and they don't have too much playoff experience. Meanwhile, the Celtics, with this core, have been to 2 NBA finals. They've made deep playoff runs in the past, especially Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. And like I keep repeating, I really do not believe, I can't see a world where he comes back and ruins this momentum and this chemistry that we have on this team currently.
Yeah, definitely. You think there's a world where Coach Missoula tells Jason Tatum, "Don't come back. We just keep on resting, and just because of the good of a flow they're in, or maybe wait until playoffs and then come back." Or is it one of these
So,
things where this is your star player, second he's
yeah,
healthy, he's going in the lineup? What
I
do you
mean,
think?
I think that we're in the second in the Eastern Conference right now. We're in a great spot.
Yeah.
We obviously don't have our number one, our superstar player that we've built this team around. And if we can save him for the playoffs and be, a top 3 seed in the East, then I have no problem with him sitting out and keep him healing and getting better for next season or the playoffs and even next season. And I think we shouldn't bring him back before the playoffs. Maybe a week or two before the playoffs, just so he gets, in the scheme and gets a hold of things, easier. So
Game
when
speed.
playoff time comes around, he's adapted to the playbook and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think we should rush him back whatsoever. wait till maybe late March, early April at the most, and then yeah, play it out from there. And I truly believe we can make a very deep playoff rush with this roster that we have currently.
Yeah, definitely. Because the last thing you need is him to come back early and then re-aggravate it, and then
Oh man, that would hurt me. That would
yeah,
hurt me. That would hurt me dearly for sure. See, I could barely last this season. I'm so surprised that we're doing this good
yeah,
this season because of the roster we have, but a lot of our role players, a lot of the bench pieces that we've been, progressing over the years have finally stepped up in the absence of Jason Tatum. And it's a very surprising thing to see that we've made it this far. But I mean, I want to just give it up to Jaylen Brown. I mean, goodness gracious, a top
he's
three MVP
all
candidate.
in.
We are the second seed in the East, like I said, and he's been balling this season. He's definitely going to make first team All NBA if he keeps it up.
Yep.
And yeah, just congrats to him because he's proved all the haters wrong, and I love that man. I mean, he's great.
Hope
He's great.
if Tatum comes back, hopefully he keeps it up because that would be. I mean, that's just a great story
Oh
of a
yeah.
second option becoming an All NBA first
Oh
team.
yeah.
But yeah. So
Definitely.
that was our new segment, unsafe takes. If you guys have any takes that you want us to discuss about, leave them in the comments. Email them to us. So your email, you'll find the email in the comment or description as well. We're gonna keep on looking online and keep on coming up with our own takes to discuss on the show. So yeah.
All right. So my good dude of the week this week is going to be Alex Honnold. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Over the weekend, he climbed one of the biggest towers in Taiwan with his hands. He had nothing else. I mean, obviously his legs were obviously, but he climbed one of the biggest towers in Taiwan, and I mean, it was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. For it to be on live stream on
Yeah.
Netflix, I think it took him a little over an hour and a half to climb, however many stories it was. But that is one of the most athletic, impressive things I've ever seen happen, especially on live TV. I mean, God forbid the guy fell. I mean, goodness gracious, that would have been catastrophic. But this guy was a beast, climbed up all the way on this tower, and it was a successful event for Netflix. And seeing all
Yeah.
the people in like the windows and stuff with certain signs, not trying to distract him, but I bet it was a little bit of a distraction.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my good dude of the week. Congrats to him, man. What an
Yeah.
impressive feat to
That was,
accomplish.
that was awesome. Definitely. All right. So my good dude of the week is going to be CCU head baseball coach, Coach Schnall, Kevin Schnall. Um, real simple was my good dude. I mean, we're coming in the preseason rankings. We're D1 baseball, number 6 ranked. And then, I mean, he's brought in some good recruits this off season. And then also, what stood out to me was he backed up my bad dude of the week last week in Carson Beck. Carson Beck came out after he got criticized for not shaking anybody's hand and anybody in Indiana's hands after the game. And he came out and said, I quote, I don't owe anyone a handshake after losing a national championship. I owe myself the standard I played to. So that quote, I mean, okay, you're trying to be a big guy, like say, oh, I played bad, I don't need to talk to anybody. No, that's not how you do things around here, dude. You're a 6-year college vet, dude. Just go out
Yeah,
there, shake a hand, show some respect.
definitely.
And Coach Schnall tweeted out and said, with all due respect, win or lose, the Shawns will meet you at a home plate to shake up. Win with class and lose with class. Impossible to disagree more with this mentality. Congrats to the Hoosiers. So that just Kevin Schnall in our CCU program, great program. We're class. We show class. We are going to shake the opponent's hands, win or lose. Coach Schnall got thrown out in World Series. It was a game 1 or game 2. Which one?
Game two, I believe. We were
He got
down
thrown out
one
in game
zero,
2 in the top of the second inning, top of the first inning.
something like that,
I,
very
I,
early in the
I
game.
guarantee you, after the game, after we lost, he came out of the clubhouse and shook all of LSU's hands. I guarantee you he
Definitely.
did that. If they did not show me the clip where he didn't, but I guarantee you he did. Great guy, great program. CCU on top. We're going back to Omaha. We're going to go there. Guys, we're going this year. When we go to
Hell
Omaha, we're
yeah,
going to go.
man. Hell yeah. We'll be back. We'll be back.
For
Our
sure.
team is stacked this year again. So definitely excited to watch him this season in our squad.
Yeah.
But my bad dude of the week is going to go back to what we were talking about before. Bill Polian. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Bill Polian. Sorry if I mispronounce it. The Colts general manager who did not vote for Bill Belichick to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he said he needed Bill Belichick to wait another year because of what he did in the Deflate Gate or whatever it was. I believe that's just complete another bull junk. I don't like that at all. And I believe you said they needed 40 out of 50 votes. I really don't understand why this guy is being pointed out as one of the voters that didn't vote for him. But obviously he came out and said that he needs to wait a year to kind of prove a point, which is I do not agree with that at all. He's my bad dude of the week. Colts fans, I mean, you got yourself a head case as a GM, and yeah, it's my bad dude of the week.
I think all other 9 people that voted no for Belichick need to come out. You need to be publicly scrutinized for not taking one of the arguably the best NFL head coach to the first ballot.
I agree.
All right, my bad dude of the week is going to ruffle some feathers here.
Uh-oh.
It's going to be Coach Prime and that Buffalo's football team.
Oh man.
You got to hear me. I've taken notes on this. I did a deep dive. I'm not for the guy. He needs to be fired from Buffalo. He needs to be out of the system.
Coach Prime.
Coach Prime needs to go. And if Coach Prime, if you're listening, you need to go. I'm going to tell you this right now. All right? You're 16-21 in your 3 years at Buffalo, at Colorado. That's not good. What are we doing here? Why are we keeping him around? What?
True.
I mean, what do you want from him? Teams. All right. So I'll give you this. This hits home, Gus. Tim Beck. We want to guess his record at Coastal over his 3 years.
I mean, we've made a bowl game the last 3 years, so we've
Coach
had to
Prime
have
made
at
a bowl
least.
game too. He made one. He lost, but
I want to say it's about the same.
okay. So Coach Prime 16-21. CCU's head football coach Tim Beck was 20-18, and we fired him the day after we lost the last season.
Wow.
The last game of the season.
I did not know that.
2 wins more than Coach Prime, 1 less loss. I got the stats laid out here, man. Coach Prime's first year, he went 4-8, 1-8 in conference play. He had a point differential of -79. He finished 15 out of 15th in the Pac-12. Year 2, he made it up. Okay, Coach Prime, you're doing something good. 9-4, 7-2 in the conference, a point differential over 120 plus 128. 4 out of 16 in the Big 12. Finished the season ranked 25. Okay, Coach Prime, you did something good. You brought the team up. Year 3, Coach Prime, you're not looking too good, man. You went 3-9, 1-8 in the conference, a -115 point differential, and you went 15. You finished 15th out of 16th in the Big 12. You had a ranked loss versus BYU, a ranked win versus Iowa. Congrats. Who cares? You finished 107th in defensive stop rate in college football FBS. You averaged 2.7 points per drive for the other team. If the team had 10 drives, they got 25 points on you.
That's pretty crazy.
Your total conference rank or conference record over your 3 seasons is 9-18. You're 1-1 versus ranked opponents, and you're -66 points of a point differential. Wow. Now tell me why he still has a job besides his name. And I just I went back. Mike McIntyre is the one that we can kind of look of the past Colorado coaches of not short spells. He was there for 6 years. His total record was 20-40. The AD of Colorado at the time fired him after he had a losing season in his last year. Lack of consistent winning. Quotes from the AD. Mr. Rick George, sir, 16-21 is not consistent winning over these last 3 years. So, what are we doing? Besides his name, what is he doing? And don't even get me started on bringing in new coaches every single year. New tight ends coach, new linebackers coach, new head of security, new head of logistics. These guys are coming in wearing feathered hats talking about, I need respect, I need this, I need that. And now we're finding players. We have a 3-page long essay of fines and what they cost for each player. Hey, Coach Prime, get to the call sheet and figure something out because your plays ain't working. I mean, I'm fed up with him. I need him to
Yeah.
be fired. If he has another losing record this past year and he's not fired, then it's for nothing. He hasn't made the program better. He's just been a big name that's got butts in seats, that's got players who want to go to him because they want to be coached by Coach Prime.
Yeah.
That's my bad of the week. He needs to leave.
And also to add on to that, like the amount of like 4 and 5 stars that have come to Colorado to play for Coach Prime, having the Heisman winner Travis Hunter go
Yeah,
there and still have, you know, a mediocre season in the Big 12 is also something to point out. And you know, I like that take, Dave. I like that take.
I'm fed
Good
up
for
with him.
you for speaking up. Speaking up.
He needs to leave Colorado. They need to fire him.
Well, all right. That concludes our second episode of the Gus and Dave podcast. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we shall see you guys next week. Thank you.
Thank you.